Did the referees try to rob the Indiana Fever in Game 1? Many fans believe the answer is yes, and the players certainly acted like it in Game 2. That's the controversy that lit the fire. After the outcry over officiating in the opening matchup, frustration boiled over, not just from fans, but from the Fever themselves. The calls were described as lopsided, the whistles were seen as one-sided, and the feeling across the basketball community was simple. Indiana didn't lose because they were outplayed, they lost because they were outnumbered by officials. But when Game 2 tipped off, the Fever didn't whine, they didn't sulk, and they certainly didn't fold. They turned anger into fuel. This wasn't just a basketball game, it was a statement to the league. From the opening possession, Indiana played as if they were determined to prove that no referee, no whistle, and no so-called controversial call could dictate their fate. They dominated both ends of the floor, shutting down Atlanta's rhythm and building a lead that left no room for manipulation. For the first time in years, fans didn't just cheer for baskets, they cheered for justice. This was Indiana rewriting the narrative in real time, showing everyone that no one could steal this game away from them. 10 years. That's how long Indiana Fever fans had waited to taste the sweetness of a playoff victory. And when it finally came, it wasn't just a win, it was a resurrection. This was not another regular season highlight or a forgettable box score. This was history in the making. The Fever hadn't celebrated a playoff win since 2015, and their home floor hadn't hosted postseason basketball since That drought hung over the franchise like a dark cloud, a constant reminder of faded glory and unfulfilled potential. But on this night, the drought ended in emphatic fashion. A 77-60 beatdown of the Atlanta Dream was more than just advancing the series. It was the reclaiming of an identity. Fans inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse weren't just watching a game, they were witnessing a rebirth. Every shot, every defensive stand, every roar from the crowd echoed with a decade's worth of pent-up frustration being released. The Fever didn't just win, they dominated from start to finish, leading wire to wire, never giving up a tie or a lead change. That kind of control in a playoff game hasn't been seen in Indiana since. It reminded everyone that this franchise once belonged among the elite. And now with this historic milestone, it just might again. 5 players out, including their superstar Caitlin Clark, and yet the Fever didn't just survive, they thrived. How do you explain that? On paper, this should have been a disaster. No Caitlin Clark, no Sophie Cunningham, no Sydney Colson, no Chloe, no Ari McDonald. That's nearly half a rotation stripped away before the ball was even tipped. The narrative seemed set. Indiana was walking into the most important game of its season, armed with less firepower, less depth, and more pressure than anyone could reasonably handle. But here's where the Fever proved who they really are. Instead of folding, they embraced the challenge. Head coach Stephanie White lit the spark before tip-off, calling for desperation and urgency on every single possession. And the players responded with heart. They tightened rotations, played with relentless energy, and trusted each other to fill the gaps left by injured teammates. The result, a display of resilience that went beyond talent and statistics. It was pure willpower. Fans in the arena didn't see a short-handed team. They saw a united one. Every dive for a loose ball, every contested rebound, every defensive stop carried the weight of 5 absent players, but also the pride of a franchise refusing to make excuses. This wasn't just a win, it was a message. Indiana is bigger than any single name on the roster. If there was ever any doubt about who anchors this franchise, Game 2 erased it. Aliyah Boston isn't just a star, she's the backbone of Indiana's future. Boston didn't need flashy plays or gaudy numbers to control this game. What she did was far more valuable. She dictated the rhythm of the floor, scoring 15 points, grabbing crucial rebounds, and dishing out assists. She turned the paint into her personal fortress. Atlanta's front court, one of the most physical in the league, had given Indiana problems in Game 1. But in Game 2, Boston flipped the script. She bodied up against bigs like Bree Jones, forcing them into uncomfortable spots, pushing them off their rhythm, and making every trip inside a battle. But it wasn't just her defense, it was her vision. Every time Atlanta doubled her in the post, Boston punished them with quick passes, finding open shooters and cutters. She turned pressure into opportunity, making the Dream's defensive adjustments backfire. More than the stats though, it was her presence. You could see her talking, directing, lifting her teammates with every possession. When Boston spoke after the game, calling their defensive effort a masterclass, it wasn't arrogance, it was truth. Her dominance wasn't just physical, it was psychological. She showed that when the Fever need a steady hand, they have one in the paint, and her leadership proved she can carry Indiana through playoff battles for years to come. When Caitlin Clark went down, many wondered who would carry the offensive torch. In Game 2, Kelsey Mitchell answered with authority. This was her house. For years, Mitchell has been the steady scorer often overlooked outside Indiana. But on this stage, with the season on the line, she stepped squarely into the spotlight, dropping a game-high 19 points, including 4 dagger three-pointers. She wasn't just efficient, she was clutch. Every time Atlanta tried to make a push, Mitchell responded with a shot that crushed their momentum and reignited the crowd. What made her performance even more remarkable was how she created her own offense without Caitlin Clark's gravitational pull on the defense. Instead of relying on others to free her up, Mitchell attacked off the dribble, came off screens with confidence, and forced Atlanta to commit extra defenders, opening space for teammates. But beyond her scoring, her composure was contagious. In her first home playoff game, she didn't play like someone burdened by pressure, she played like someone fueled by it. After the game, Mitchell deflected credit, calling it a collective effort, but anyone who watched knew this was her night. She reminded the league that Indiana has another weapon capable of carrying them when it matters most, and for the Fever, that revelation might be just as valuable as the win itself. Offense wins highlights, but defense wins series, and in Game 2, the Fever put on a defensive clinic so complete, Atlanta looked lost from start to finish. From the opening tip, Indiana's defense smothered the Dream. Atlanta thrives on perimeter shooting and tempo, but Indiana shut off both valves. In the first half, the Dream went just 1 for 10 from beyond the arc, a number that set the tone for the entire night. By the final buzzer, they finished 5 for 19 from deep and under 40%. Every possession was hurried, every shot contested, every passing lane disrupted. What made the performance so devastating was the discipline. Indiana pressed without fouling, applied pressure without overextending, and stayed connected on rotation. The Dream's rhythm collapsed, and their offense never recovered. For the first time since 2002, Indiana won a playoff game, wire to wire. No ties, no lead changes, just total control. Head coach Stephanie White had demanded desperation and urgency before the game, and her team delivered it on the defensive end. Aliyah Boston clogged the paint, Natasha Howard bullied the boards, and guards like Lexie Hull and Kelsey Mitchell made Atlanta's perimeter threats uncomfortable from the jump. It wasn't just defense, it was suffocation. And by the time the Dream realized what was happening, the Fever had turned their biggest weakness from Game 1 into their most powerful weapon in Game 2. If you thought this was just about stars stepping up, think again. Indiana's supporting cast delivered moments that turned a must-win game into a team masterpiece. Every championship-caliber performance needs role players to rise above expectation, and that's exactly what happened in Game 2. Natasha Howard embodied toughness, grinding for rebounds, scrapping in the paint, and adding 12 gritty points that gave Indiana balance on both ends. She wasn't flashy, but she was relentless, and that relentlessness gave the Fever an edge Atlanta couldn't match. Then came Michaela Timpson, the rookie few expected to make an impact in this series. In just 9 minutes, she scored 9 points, quick buckets, fearless drives, and the kind of energy that swung momentum in Indiana's favor. Those points didn't just fill the box score, they sent a message that even with 5 players out, Indiana still had depth ready to deliver. And then there was Lexie Hull, who gave the night its signature moment, a buzzer-beating 3 at the end of the third quarter. Gainbridge Fieldhouse erupted like it hadn't in years, the crowd shaking the building as Hull's shot pushed the lead and crushed Atlanta's morale. These weren't just side notes, they were the backbone of the victory. The supporting cast didn't just help the stars, they completed the puzzle, proving Indiana isn't a one-woman show but a unit where every piece matters. Sometimes the loudest voice in the arena doesn't come from the court, it comes from the stands. And in Game 2, Gainbridge Fieldhouse became a fortress, fueled by both the fans and the injured rookie sensation watching from the sideline. From the moment players ran onto the floor, the energy was unmistakable. Over 17,000 fans packed the building, the Fever's largest playoff crowd in years, and they refused to let Atlanta breathe. Every Atlanta turnover was met with a roar, every Indiana bucket with a thunderclap of cheers. The crowd wasn't just reacting, they were dictating, pulling Indiana forward with noise that rattled the dream and emboldened the Fever. And at the center of it all, even in street clothes, was Caitlin Clark. Though sidelined with injury, her mere presence electrified the atmosphere. Cameras caught her on the bench, cheering, coaching, and celebrating with her teammates like she was still on the floor. Her leadership wasn't through scoring, but through spirit, reminding everyone why she's more than a generational talent. She's a cultural force. Fans fed off her presence. Players lifted their intensity knowing she was there, and Atlanta felt the weight of a building united behind its team. For Indiana, this wasn't just a win. It was proof that the Fever are building a movement, culture, and a bond between team and city that could carry them far beyond one playoff run. Game 1 exposed Indiana's flaws, but Game 2 proved they can adapt. And credit for that transformation starts at the top with head coach Christy Sides. Atlanta had exploited their perimeter defense, clogged their offensive flow, and made Indiana look out of rhythm. But in Game 2, Sides flipped the script. She shortened the rotation, demanded more physicality, and made a crucial adjustment by funneling Atlanta's drive straight into Aliyah Boston's waiting arms. Suddenly, the Dream's fast-paced attack slowed to a crawl. Offensively, Sides emphasized ball movement and spacing, ensuring that without Caitlin Clark, the offense didn't stall. Instead of leaning too heavily on one scorer, the Fever spread the floor, gave Kelsey Mitchell room to operate, and used Boston as a passing hub from the post. Every move was deliberate, every substitution strategic, and the result was a team that looked sharper, tougher, and more prepared. What stood out most was the discipline. The Fever committed just 10 turnovers, far fewer than their average, showing how focused they were on execution. Sides called the win a response, but it was more than that. It was proof that Indiana has the coaching brainpower to compete on this stage. She not only saved the season with her adjustments, she made a statement: this team is learning, evolving, and capable of playing chess when their opponent only plays checkers. Game 2 was a declaration that the Indiana Fever aren't a team of tomorrow. They're a team of right now. They're a team of right now. For years, Indiana was treated as an afterthought in the WNBA, a rebuilding franchise, a team with potential but little to show for it. But this win shifted that narrative. Even without Caitlin Clark on the floor, the Fever didn't just compete, they dominated, proving their identity is deeper than one superstar. Aliyah Boston's dominance, Kelsey Mitchell's leadership, the defensive intensity, the contributions from the bench. This was a full team statement, and when you combine that with the fact that Clark will return in the near future, the implications are massive. The Fever showed the league they're no longer rebuilding. This game will be remembered not just as a playoff win, but as a cultural turning point. The night Indiana reminded the basketball world that Gamebridge Fieldhouse can be one of the loudest, most passionate arenas in the league, and that this roster is built for more than moral victory. The Fever aren't playing for participation, they're chasing banners. And while the series is far from over, the message is clear. The WNBA has a new rising power, and they wear red, yellow, and navy.